we have to treat it as a tool. It's a tool that helps us out to bring better results, to have a better ROI. The whole process of SEO has changed and is changing more and more because we can use AI as an additional teammate or an additional tool that is really important tool that can help us out with bringing better results. It's all about finding the tools that are easy to use. You don't have to figure out like how to prompt things because this is really, really difficult. If you don't implement AI, you'll have to basically fire 100% of your staff in a year or two.
How has the SEO landscape changed in the past 2 years with the introduction of AI? What's now relevant that wasn't in the past? What's now irrelevant that was relevant in the past?
Okay, so first thing, that a lot has changed, but like everybody sees that. The second thing, not much has changed. So basically, like if we're looking from the Google's perspective, like from the day one that Google introduced, they had like a simple rule. We want to bring the best possible output, content, to the people that are asking for it. That didn't change at all. Like for the last 25 years, they still want to bring the best quality, the best value to the end user. If you're asking a question, they want to provide you with the best possible answer. So this didn't change at all. And like from the perspective of SEO, if anybody says that the new algorithm is changing, everything is changing, to be honest, not much. Google is becoming a better referee, like, but the rules are the same. Like the end goal of Google is just the same. So looking from this perspective, not a lot has changed. But since we have new tools and looking at AI, we have to treat it as a tool, as a colleague, best friend, teammate. But basically, it's a tool that helps us out to bring better results. So to have a better ROI, to get the better output. So this has changed a lot. So the whole process of SEO has changed and is changing more and more because we can use AI as an additional teammate in our team or an additional tool that is like really important tool that can help us out with bringing better results. So we can create better content, we can analyze more data at a glance, like much faster. We can find new keywords, predict new keywords, and like a lot of other things to improve SEO. But that's kind of very vague, what I just said, and very top of the iceberg. Like, because then if you go to nuances of SEO, definitely there's a lot in the process that can be changed, that already a lot of people are changed, and some things that will be like we will be able to change in the future.
Talk to me about that. We talked about predictions beforehand, before we hopped on this call, and how they can sometimes be true, sometimes not be true. But what are you kind of foreseeing as how the SEO landscape will change with the current AI tools and with new inventions that come out as well?
Okay, so like before I go into predicting the future, I think I need to talk a little bit about the past and how I see like what has happened in the last 2.5 years, because we have to understand that the beginning like of AI, I know it was far earlier than what I will say, but basically we see the beginning of AI as ChatGPT launching the front end. So the chat view of AI. I used GPT-2 or before, but I could use it only through API. But like for most people, the beginning of AI would be launching ChatGPT. So something that is available, a chatbot that we can talk to, and it answers our question. This was the amazing thing that happened a little bit over 2 years ago in December. And this was the first thing that we saw. We were able to talk to the computer and the computer responded to our questions. So like this was the beginning. And then we asked it like a lot of questions, a lot of different questions. We wanted to see if it will respond to everything, if it will not. Like most of the things that we started with were basically easy back and forth discussions, or basically simple one question questions, not like a whole discussion. So we asked the question and then we retrieved the data. That was like a very, very simple usage of chat. Then what some of the developers saw, they were able to use it for coding, for example. So like still very simple way of using the tool. There were more marketers using the tool as is, like, and they thought like, okay, we're right now becoming like much more productive, but it was still a conversation between them and ChatGPT, which is again very easy. There's a whole prediction about development that we will not need junior developers, mid developers, or maybe even senior developers. I have two daughters. Like 2 years ago, if you would ask me uh, who they should be in the future to have like a really great job, I would say like become a developer. Like that's amazing. Right now, you know what? Maybe that's not the best idea, but let's see. And it started to become like a little bit more and more complicated to use AI because we started to use AI mostly through API. Like if you want to do something at scale, if you want to do something that is damn it, replicable, then you have to use it for API because you have to use it at scale. So we could use AI through API, and we did something that is called AI workflows. So basically, it's still the mindset: if this, then that. So if you see, like, if you download the keywords, let's say we are creating content. First, download the keywords, then cluster out the keywords using embeddings, then use the keywords for this, then download, scrape something, then use the scraped contents to predict what is the outline, and so on and so forth until you build the content. This is an AI workflow, a simple process that is a step-by-step process to create something. Whatever you do, I just gave you an example of creating content. Like this is how we humans do it. So whenever we want to write an article, we have a clear process. What we do the research, we write an initial draft, we optimize it for SEO, we add internal links, we do something. Like this is a process that we go through. So this is the part where already it started to get complicated to do the same process as we humans did normally using our hands, but using AIs. Like you had to be a developer to start to doing that. And this is the moment where we are at. And you could use, for example, make.com to drag and drop the whole process as a normal human, non-developer human, to build such a process. And now becomes the interesting part because like this is exactly the moment that we are in. I can see that more and more people are talking about AI agents. And how they are different from AI workflows is that they're kind of like independent on finding the solution how to solve something. So you give a question or you give a task, and they have access to multiple tools and they design the path to answer your question. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to think about the if kind of mindset. So finding edge cases like if you find this, then do that, and then go through that. If you don't find this, then go this path, or like if you find this, then go this path, whatever. Like you don't have to think about a linear way of solving a problem. But all of a sudden you have an agent, kind of, an orchestrator that solves the problem for you because it predicts what kind of tools or what kind of other agents, maybe AI agents, they need to solve the problem. And this is the interesting part in 2025, that we will see more and more agents that will help us out to resolve the problems, but we will not have to think about how to resolve the problems. So this will be kind of a black box, like not exactly a black box because we can see exactly what they did, but we will see it more and more happening. So this is my prediction for the future. I'm not saying AI agents are a solution to everything because I still think AI workflows are far better for something that can be process oriented. But this is something that will help us to solve things that earlier we weren't able to.
I really want to dive into AI agents specifically, maybe how you're using them just now, but I think something important to note and something that I've been noticing as a thread across multiple conversations is kind of what you mentioned there. You mentioned that you've got two daughters, and if I was to ask you 2 years ago, what should you go do? Go become a developer, right? And something you mentioned in there is that like we probably won't need junior developers anymore. Mid developers might become obsolete as well, but we're still going to need those people at the very top, right? They're able to discern this is good code, this is not good code, right? But it's kind of a kind of catch 22, right? How do you get a top developer? How do you get someone that is at that top level? You can only get them there by becoming a junior developer and then a mid developer to become a top developer. And it's the same with AI agents and processes, right? So you described how right now we're using AI processes, or maybe right now you've just switched into AI agents, right? So you had to think out that process before. How does this work? If this, then that, right? You had to mentally go through that. And now you're saying, all right, AI agents are here, so you could just have an agent think through that process. But if you've never been able to think through the fundamental process yourself, like AI agents are going to be this kind of catch-all solution, but you're going to lose your ability to actually think and conceive of ideas, and the ability to think and conceive of processes and enact them with pen and paper and write them down is going to become an absolute superpower.
I agreed. Like, totally agree with you that this is the catch 22 of the 21st century. That the like development path is broken. Like, I don't know, like I've been in the HR, like one of the tools that I've helped to build was like a tool to test developer skills, and we're mapping out the skills of developers. So like I've talked with so many people in HR, and to be honest, and I know a lot of people in HR, and I don't know why in HR they're still not talking too much about the broken path of development of any kind of person, because we need the experts, as you mentioned, that have the knowledge, because you have to understand how it works. And like all of a sudden, like junior positions, like mid positions, and it's not about development, and also in marketing, they are not that much needed, I would say. So like will you grow to a senior developer, let's say, and how will you understand all the things that are happening on the back end to actually be able to tell this AI agent what you want and check like if it's doing the right stuff. This is something that I don't have an answer to. I can also see it. I would love to someone to speak about it. I really don't know. But with AI agents, what I see, we need senior developers that understand actually and can develop and can work with them to develop them. Like, it's extremely hard for a normal human being to understand like all the things that are happening there.
Yeah. I mean, I want to get someone on from like the Department of Education or people high up at like UK education, because realistically, the problem that we're now facing is that our education system is flawed for the tech ecosystem that we're entering into, right? Is like our education system is designed so that you can be good at doing tests, not so you can be good at independent thought. And independent thought and the ability to think has never been more valuable and will become increasingly valuable in the future. So we need to fundamentally change how we think about education, and that process has to change, which, I mean, I'm from the UK, is unlikely to change, right?
I really don't know what will happen. Like, from the education's perspective, if I can be honest here, I don't think my kids will have a job. That's my opinion. So, still, they have to learn how to solve problems. And this is one skill that I want to teach them, how to solve problems. And all the rest,
We could get down this tangent for around 3 hours, and I would love to, don't get me wrong, but let's circle back to AI agents. How are you using AI agents currently, if at all?
okay, so like I developed like one tool right now, like I'm working on one tool, which is SEOwind.io. SEOwind.io is a tool to help to write articles, but based on research. For us, like the 80% of the whole work that we do is the research, using vectors to analyze stuff, like putting things together, and then be able to provide context to AI to write the article. Like, so writing in the article is the last 20% of the work. It's kind of like a cherry on the top. So like this is the easy part. The context and providing all the information that AI needs, not to hallucinate, not to create fluff, is the hard part, because like you have to take pieces and like basically like a human. If we're a human and we're writing the article, we have to do the research, and then based on the research, we're taking something from here, taking something from there. We're like putting all stuff together, and then we're writing an article. Like AI is the same. It's a logical engine, not a search engine. It has additional add-ons like which help them to be a search engine, but it's a logical engine, just like humans' brain. So we can put things together, and this is like an amazing thing that we are. So SEO Wind is an AI workflow most of the time. Like, I'm not like simplifying, but basically an AI workflow with a lot of ifs. So like if this, then that, like, and it goes like a workflow. Well, one thing that we were trying to do, like in the last 2-3 months, we were playing around with Google Search Console data. I've talked with many people on conferences. Like one of them was Brighton SEO. There were a couple of people that were talking about exporting data from Google Search Console to BigQuery.
Could you explain what Google Search Console is for the layman such as myself?
Yeah, Google Search Console is the data that we get from Google about what kind of clicks and we're getting and what kind of keywords we're ranking for, just to understand what kind of traffic we're getting from Google to our website. So like there's a lot of data, true data, that people want to analyze, but it's like very, very hard to analyze because it's just like a list, let's say, of 70,000 keywords that are across last year, just to understand like what is happening there. So what people do, like data analysts do, they export this data into Google BigQuery. BigQuery is like a gigantic table, like something that you can use SQL to analyze the data. So data scientists prefer to have it in a table kind of way, just to be able to retrieve the data. And there's like on a lot of conferences, there's a lot of talks about actually how to get the data to BigQuery. So like this data point in Google. And to be able to retrieve data that we want to using SQL language. But the problem of that, like exporting the data is extremely easy, like a couple of buttons, like there are instructions to do it. But if you want to retrieve the data, like so for example, you want to retrieve some trends that you have on your website, or you want to see like what are the categories of keywords that people are clicking, where are you growing, where are you losing, and so on. You need a data scientist that knows how to use SQL to retrieve the data from the table. Otherwise, you're a fool with a tool. So you basically have data, but you don't know what to do it. Like it's spaghetti, basically. Like it's really hard. So a lot of people on conferences were talking about this thing. So like we have data, we don't know what to do with it. Like you need a data scientist to retrieve specific things from it. But like from my perspective, I thought, what if we could talk to our database in a natural language? So like we are speaking right now, I would love to get this and this. Can you help me out with this and that? And basically, the database would get you the information. But the problem with this thing is that you have a question, you don't know how to resolve the problem, and you need an answer. So there's like a gap in between. In this gap, you need a data scientist, basically, like in the normal world. So we started to play around with AI agents, like to imitate a data scientist, where we created an orchestrator that defines how to answer the question. So basically, you ask a question to the orchestrator defines how to answer the question, and then the orchestrator, so the main agent, AI agent, has a couple of other agents that it knows of that it can ask. So, for example, there's a SQL agent that can write a SQL query to BigQuery and can ask like for an output, so a table that answers the specific question. There can be others. So basically, there can be a data manipulation scientist. So kind of like a person that will get a couple of tables together and put it together to make reasoning. There can be somebody that will interpret the results. So like actually tell you what you see on the table and tell you like in layman terms, like, look, we see these kinds of trends. You can add visualization. So basically there can be another agent that can visualize it in a graph. There can be another agent that can build Python prediction models. So basically use machine learning.
Do these agents currently exist in your workflow?
Yeah, they do. But like, and this is where we're playing with, and the results, to be honest, like on one side, it's exciting to see like how good it is, because I can just add additional tools like to the orchestrator, and then it's things like, okay, I want to use this one, I want to use this one like for this and this, I want to use that one. And it basically makes decisions what kind of things it can do with these tools that we give access to. And it's a combination of other AI tools and also something that is normal programming. So it can have access to an API. It can run code. It can do additional stuff that are non-AI things. And by that, it resolves the problem, but it resolves the problem in their way. We can build up on top of that basically everything that we want. So as I said, like the results are on one side very exciting, on the other side very scary, because it can do things that normal chat can't, because it has access to multiple sources. It decides what to access. It doesn't hallucinate, because like it just basically asks like and accesses specific things. And this is really amazing. To people that don't know SEO, to give you an example, I predict that there can be a doctor, like basically medical doctor, that has access to the whole database of all the researchers in the world. It basically retrieves data about like specific researchers, then it provides the data to the AI engine as a kind of database, because these are probably the most curable diseases that this patient can have. And based on that, it can predict like you need this to be examined. And based on that, I can resolve the problem. So we can this way mimic exactly a doctor with far more knowledge, because it's not only about the knowledge that an LLM has, but it can retrieve additional knowledge using RAG, so retrieval augmented generation, to get additional context for this specific patient. So this is very similar, and you can input it into any niche. Like, so if you have a need where you have a question that is not easy to answer, and you need additional data, or you need additional things like steps, data points, this is perfect environment for AI agents.
A lot to unpack there. Before I want to get into, I want to do a little bit of a deep dive on SEO and how we can become Google's best friend in a second. But just to kind of finish off on agents for a second, did you need to utilize, or do you need to have technical knowledge to build these AI agents? Like, what, if we're to get granular for a second, what specific tools or websites were you using to build these AI agents?
So with AI agents, like if you're looking at AI workflow, so a process, again, coming back to the process, you definitely can use tools like make.com or like similar tools where you drag and drop a process that has to be done. You add some ifs and it's done. With AI agents, like I tried to look uh, for solutions. To be honest, like I found some frameworks like LangChain, for example, but it's like a developer friendly framework. There are not many solutions out there that can do it. Everybody talks about AI agents. Most of the solutions that we see on the market are AI workflows still. So the if mindset. So like if this, then that. AI agents is kind of like, I have a task, I want a solution. Like design me the path. Like I don't want to show you all the edge cases. Like what kind of things can happen in between, because I don't know. Like this is something that I don't want to predict. So this is AI agents, like AI workflows. Definitely plenty of tools out there, very interesting. AI workflows are really amazing for some of the tasks. For others, AI agents. But with AI agents, to be honest, you need to be a developer at this point. There's no tool that I've seen that can resolve the whole orchestration and manage it. Like, so what we did it on our own. Like we started to work on a framework on our own to build this AI agent that we want. But it's basically our technology. We were looking for some solutions to find a framework that will simplify it. Didn't find it yet.
Interesting. It's a little contrarian to what you see out there on YouTube, where everyone's like, build your own AI agents with no code and no experience whatsoever. And it's just like, it's that YouTube cycle. Every person with an audience is saying that right now.
From what I know, the closest to be there is Crew AI. Like I would say the closest to building an AI agent in a simple way, kind of, would be Crew AI. But so there's new coming every single day. Like to be honest, like if there is one topic, AI agents is the topic of like 2025. Like so everybody wants to build it. Why? Because we reached a limit, kind of like all the low hanging fruit in building better AI, they're done. Like there's nothing else. Like you can't add much more. You will build like a better LLM, but to be honest, all the new things will not significantly improve the LLM. So what you need more context. You need like better understanding of specific tasks that you're doing, and AI agents are a solution for that. One of the best known AI agents out there is O1 model by ChatGPT. This is an AI agent. Like, so we don't know what happens underneath, but this is basically an AI agent. Like, that is a general AI agent that does a lot more tasks and thinks through, so has reasoning underneath to first develop how to answer the question and then answer the question based on specific tasks that it does.
Let's talk about SEO. How do you make sure your web page or your article is Google's best friend? What does Google need to know about your relationship to rank you higher, to rank you the highest, to put you at the top of its search rankings? How do I communicate with Google to make that happen?
So we're coming back to the origins of Google before AI, like so 25 years ago. Value and value. So like we have to bring the best value to the end user. And now there is the whole definition about the, like we can talk about the value. So what is value in the article? Like for me, like it's actually quantifiable. So like you can see that there's more citations, more numbers, better answers, less fluff, and all the things that can help. Like, so everything that can stop a user and like look at the thing. So like if I see a link, this is an easy thing that I can spot as a user and see like, okay, I want to read more about this number, or like I want to have a source of this. I want to see this graph. I want to see these additional things. Because if you go to AI, most of the things, and if you ask a simple question to AI, like write me an outline for this keyword, write me an article based on this, like you get fluff. Like it will not be filled with information. It has no intent. It has no goals. It didn't go through data. It didn't do additional research. It's kind of like using AI as a search engine. So like we have to differentiate ourselves from what we can do with a simple AI prompt. Like, so we have to deliver all the data that AI should include into the article and add it. So like, as I said, like the things that I see simple to understand is additional data, additional opinions, additional expertise, maybe some print screens of a specific solution, going through a specific process of things, outgoing links, internal links. So anything that we as humans perceive as value.
And that on Google's end is how they quantify how high they'll rank an article. Like, what are the actual key components on the back end where they're being like, right, tick, we've got links, tick, we've got pictures. Like, specifically, what are they?
So I can see, like, and again, simplified, two main pillars. One is the content, and the other part is the authority. So on one side, we have content and we can build content that is valuable. So let's assume that we're building a palace, like the best possible palace in the middle of the desert. Who will visit it? If you don't pave the roads to the palace, like in the middle of the desert, even if it's like the best palace in the world, like nobody will visit it. Like nobody knows it's there. So basically, content is important. Like, so the palace is like the content that we're producing. And the other thing is the authority. Of course, like Google perceives it in a different way. Like it has like 200, 500 factors that it like looks at, or maybe even more. Doesn't matter. But simplified, I would say authority and the content. So like on one side, we have to focus on the content. On the other side, we have to focus on our authority. Definitely, building authority, like in normal world, takes time. You're building a podcast. It took you a while to build authority on your podcast and to show people that like you have an amazing podcast. So it's all about like time, like effort to promote it. The more people, like it's a slow process, unfortunately. Uh, Authority for me, like if I would again simplify it, definitely getting more backlinks, definitely more people talking about it in social media, definitely probably a larger coverage in content in a specific space to kind of be the um, Wikipedia of a specific niche, but really a niche, like something small, to grant access. So like you have this AI report that you're mentioning everything connected to AI report. This is your niche. This is where you have coverage. This is where you're building organic traffic. And from Google's perspective, like what I see, Google will let you in into small ponds, kind of like first let you like here, then when you grow, like I will give you another pond of like keywords that you will see like you're an authority in, and then another one and another one. Once you build your brand into becoming a HubSpot of this world, you can talk about the whole marketing. Until that, find the ponds that you're really an expert in and like fill in the gap, like just fill in the information about this specific niche, really a small one, and then grow it, gradually grow it, grow it, grow it. Don't talk about, for example, the whole marketing because Google will never let you into this pond. Like they will start with something small. So this is how you build authority from being small to being larger.
Yeah, and I think that's pertinent and true across all different vectors, right? It's true of Google rankings, but it's also true of podcasts. If my podcast was just, or if our podcast was just about AI in general, they'd be like, why would we trust you for the whole of AI? It has to be more specific than that. That's why we focus on kind of practical use cases. What can you do today? So I mean, it does ring true across all vectors. Something I'm very curious about, and I'd love if you could maybe give me an explanation of this, is how do AI search engines fit into this whole equation? So we've got the likes of Perplexity, and obviously ChatGPT has a search function as well. How has this changed SEO, if at all?
It's changed a lot. Like I can see from my perspective, I can see more and more traffic from coming from Perplexity, Google, or ChatGPT. So definitely, I wouldn't like to be Google right now. There's like a lot of push, and it can be stressful to be Google right now. But it definitely changes. Like people want to get answers here and now. Like there's predictions like of people that people will not be able to read whole books like in I don't know 20 years, that they will just want these small pieces, like, and this is how they will perceive the data. Like so they will ask a question if they're writing something, like they will just like get bits and pieces from like the search engine. And I think this is driving like how search engines will work. They want to answer the question, so they are using more AI and to try to resolve a problem that a person has. That's why AI overviews were introduced by Google. But the big problem that I don't have an answer to, how Google can answer the question here right now and still make money from ads. I don't know.
Perplexity uses that like per month model. You pay $20 per month and you get your answers there and that. And I'd much rather pay $20 a month than having to sift through loads of ads personally.
Because yeah, exactly. Because AI assistant works only if it gets you the best possible answer. And if you add ads into the equation, then you probably impact the search with money, which basically breaks the whole model. So I don't know what's the answer right now. Definitely, we can see more and more of AI overviews. But to be honest, like as an SEO expert, I'm not afraid of that because these answers are really like small. Like this is anything that can be very small. And to be honest, it doesn't have impact on my business because the big answer is something that I can answer on my website, and Google has to push the person to my website. Let's go with a pizza recipe. So if we're talking about a pizza recipe, like from the technical perspective, there's not enough place on Google, like if you look at it from the UX perspective, to give me the whole pizza recipe there. So it can give you a snippet, like something short, like that is like more or less this size, but it has to push a person to the whole pizza recipe to show all the images, like all the steps that you have to take to create like a perfect Neapolitan pizza.
So interesting. Let's dive more into your business, SEOwind, and the methodologies you use. I saw one acronym on your website, EEAT. can you, or eat? But could you delve into that for me? What does that mean?
I never remember. Like, I'll be honest. Like, it's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. Like, so this is like exactly what it stands for. Like, I never can remember exactly, but basically, this is what I was talking about. It's all about providing the value to the end user and being the authority in the niche. Like, so basically, when you're talking about EAT, you're talking about how you should build the content to build it in the proper way. So you have to definitely add experience, expertise, like be an authority in the niche and make it like full of data. So basically build trust on the things that you're talking about. If you're creating fluff, like, and you're talking about like if you're hallucinating, even as a human, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bring, like, it doesn't create trust. So these are the things that you have to write the content, the rules that you should write the content with, like, be as valuable to the end user as possible. So, like, simplified.
That all makes sense conceptually. What I'm struggling to understand or want to grasp is, how does Google consume that and like put that into roles on their end? How does it, like, because I can say, oh, something's authoritative, but how does Google then take that article and be like, yep, that's actually authoritative? Like, yep, that person has respect. That actually makes sense. Like, are they using AI on their end? How are they defining this and putting it into roles and qualifying things?
Oof, that's like definitely a difficult question, and a lot of SEOs would love to get a direct answer. We can only hypothesize on this topic because we really don't know how do they do it. But definitely, they're using AI to identify and quantify it, like, in a way. Uh, Also, like, they have access, like, they're the owner of Google Analytics, so like they have plenty of events that they can watch. Like, even if they don't have access to Google Analytics data, they also see from their site, so from Google's site, what people are doing. So like, if you're asking question, can you find me a recipe for Napolitan pizza, and you're going to a recipe and then you're coming back to Google, what does it mean? Like, simple, like, you didn't get an answer. So like, it's something that we don't want. So like, there's plenty of indicators that they see, apart from crawlers that they crawl the page and look throughout the whole thing just to understand what is there. So I think we should stop thinking in a complicated way and start thinking in a logical way as humans. Does this content give me value that I'm looking for? Easy as that. If it looks like spam, it's spam. Like, easy.
Interesting. It's really taking things back to first principles, and it's so curious to hear that people even deeply involved in the SEO game don't really know how Google are ranking these things. You have a grasp on it, but to say that you know the specifics of like how they're measuring things, and that's just a bit of a black box, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we can only hypothesize based on that. Like, but
If I wanted to get into, let's take a hypothetical example, all right? I'm going to give you an example here, and you let me know what you think. I come and I'm like, I quit the AI report, done my job, and I want to go and work for Tom Winter, all right? And you have 6 months to make me an AI SEO god, to make me as effective as possible, to make me the most effective employee, to make you the most amount of money, grow your business, and just to be an SEO expert in general. What would you teach me in terms of theory, in terms of fundamentals? Maybe what courses would you put me through? What tools would you tell me to use and learn how to use? Like, how would you give me a crash course in 6 months if I wanted to bang out my SEO knowledge?
okay, so like, this is definitely a tough one. Uh, like, one thing that I would say definitely to do is to use AI tools, like the tools that will help you out to resolve a specific problem. Like, looking at SEOwind, I'm not telling people like to use SEOwind. Like, if they like some other tool and it gives them the quality and the output that they want, like, use whatever tool that you want. That, like, basically streamlines your work. Like, definitely, I would learn more like how to use specific tools. There's a lot of people talking about like, you should learn prompting. Like, this is amazing. Like, you should start prompting. From my perspective, I'm not 100% sure, because how I see the path of development, like the whole of like how we use AI, there was a period where like we started with using chat, so the prompting part. But right now I can see more and more tools that are specialized. They use AI underneath, and you basically resolve a specific problem. AI agents are a perfect examples. Like if I chat with an AI agent that like gets the data from Google Search Console that I'm building, you don't care what it does. Like, so basically it does the prompting for you. You just talk to it in a natural language. So from the perspective of user, it's all about finding the tools that you are easy to use. You don't have to figure out like how to prompt things, because this is really, really difficult. When looking at prompts like with SEOwind, how to write the article, that would be even knowing the prompts that we use, like in the whole process and the amount of prompts. Like the whole process takes about 30 prompts probably, all together, like, and grabbing the data like all between in between. It would take me probably 5-6 hours to fill out the prompts with data. So which I don't have. Like I prefer to go after writing the article from scratch, because that would take me less time than filling out my prompts like with the data that I need. That's why I'm saying like prompting, yeah, it's cool to test out like and figure out how to talk to ChatGPT or any other Claude, Gemini, whatever you're using, to be able to understand how to retrieve the data and how to treat it as a colleague, and talk to it, chat storm. I call it chat storming. So basically brainstorming with chat, like, and retrieving data, like, and figuring out what you want, but using the tools and finding a tool set that will help you out to resolve a specific problem. In my opinion, it's far more important. And break patterns. So basically, don't stay in one place. Just before the talk, I told you that I love to be wrong. I really love to be wrong. And I love to be proven that I'm wrong, because then I can be better. Like every single time, I try to have an open mind and tell myself, like, look, Tom, you still don't know anything. I want to learn. Have an open mind to find new solutions, try things, don't be afraid of trying. And these are the crucial things that I would try to teach you to be able to break the patterns. Like, don't focus on what you think, focus on the end goal, how to resolve the problem and get to the end goal that you want, and what kind of tools you can use to be better. If SEOwind is the tool that will help you out to build content and then rank higher, cool. Like definitely use it. If not, then use another one. Like try them and figure out what works for you.
Real emphasis on experimentation there, which I love and I think is important in the AI era. I think people are very impatient with AI, is that they expect everything to be done for them immediately. And if it's not, they lose their patience and stop working with it. And we notice that across a lot of clients we work with as well.
Oh, you're so right. Like people, like this is another thing that like I can see a lot on the market, that people think like this is something that I strongly disagree. Either AI will get it to like perfect, or I'm not using AI. There's so much gray area in between. Like just do a simple calculation. I always tell people like, look, if you're writing an article right now, it takes you 8 hours, and let's assume again SEOwind, like it will take you 20 minutes to write an article, like to compile all the things that you want, and then you will basically edit the content for another hour. It will be 1.5 hour tops, like to build a content piece that makes sense. 8 hours compared to 1.5 hour. Like for me, it's simple maths. Like for people, they choose, like a lot of people choose 8 hours because they think like, okay, it wasn't perfect. I can't publish it straight from the box, so I'm going with 8 hours. Like maths doesn't work this way. Just like put it into an Excel, find a solution.
It's got to be just an incredibly interesting next 10, 20, 30 years in terms of the workforce and skilled labor. Like, it just kind of takes me back to the start of our conversation, is that we're in a society right now where people are more accustomed to instant gratification, to YouTube videos that last 3 seconds, to TikToks that last 2 seconds. People's attention spans are worse than they've ever been. We've got an education system that is designed around being able to do a test well, And now we have this tool that kind of works on top of that, and it almost encourages people to be lazy. But the people that are really going to succeed with it are people that have longer attention spans, can take the time to think out a process manually, and have patience, can work with it. So, I mean, something's fundamentally going to have to change, or the landscape's going to become less and less and less competitive, which means if you take the time to be patient with AI and to work out things manually, then you're going to be 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
I agree. Like, and also I talked with a lot of companies, like especially the bigger ones, and some of them, like not all of them, they say like, okay, I can't implement AI because like we'll have to fire like, let's say 50% of staff. Like this is an objection that I hear a lot. And every time that I hear it, like I say, like, look, if you don't implement AI, you'll have to like basically fire 100% of your staff in a year or two. So like just choose right now, like make a good decision. Like if you will implement something that will grow your company, not only you will not fire the people right now that you have in, but probably you will actually grow your company. So like there will be a lot more space in your company because you will be more competitive on the market. That is an indicator that will help the company to grow. If you will not do the change right now, and you will be one of these people like who hashtag don't look up, like because like no, AI is not better than us, like let's just like focus here, like let's not look up, uh, you will drive your company to die. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, part of the beauty of it is that we are working in a meritocracy, right? And we're moving more towards that, where being mediocre at something isn't fucking good enough anymore. Like it's not fucking good enough anymore. So realistically, like companies are going to be built very lean with a couple of people at the very top that are perfectionists, that put in a lot of time and a lot of effort to develop their expertise, and people that just get by doing the bare minimum but still get paid. I don't know where they're going to go for a job. That you're going to have to get the shit together or find a new industry.
I see dark scenarios like out there. Like, let's see what will happen. Like, I'm not afraid of where I am. Like, it's getting scary sometimes. As I said, with AI agents, like it's really getting scary how good it is. But let's see. Like, I think we can all help out to be better. Like, and we have to think about what we really excel with. What you said, like you're a perfectionist in the niche. Like, so we have to think about our superpowers, like as humans, like because AI has superpowers, we have superpowers. Let's not fight against each other. Let's find a way to combine these powers, like to be a superhuman. I call it cyborg. Like, so basically, cyborg methods using like AI, like in a seamlessly way. Like, and let's find it. Like, be aware of your superpowers. Like, you have experience. You talk to customers. You talk to the product team. Like, you have a lot of additional knowledge that AI didn't go through, like didn't learn about. Like, you have plenty of things to add to the whole equation. So this is something that you can share with AI in a way and combine it.
Realistically, AI is going to automate a lot of things that humans don't want to do, which hopefully frees up more time to focus on the things that we do want to do. I know that I love podcasting, I enjoy sales. The favorite part of my job isn't inputting data into a fucking spreadsheet. It's speaking to interested humans like you. I don't think that'll ever change. I think as much as AI is going to change the landscape, humans want to talk to humans. I don't want to talk to a robot if possible. If I can spend all day in a cafe speaking to other human beings while AI runs my business, I think I'd be happier than ever, right? And I think most people would feel the same way.
Let's see where we're heading.
Tom, I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to give people a bit of an SEO masterclass. Felt as if we could have gone on for about 5 hours there and wound out through about 7 different rabbit holes, but I'm glad that we kept it kind of concentrated on one specific topic. So thank you for your time, first of all. If people want to learn more about what you do, your business, and who you are, how do they go about doing that?
So basically, find me on LinkedIn. I live there. It's my second home. Like, if you want to ask anything, like, just don't hesitate. Like, just send me a direct message. I love to answer like people. I love to talk to people. As Liam said, like I really like also talking to people. And if you have any questions, just find me there. And let's start from there. It was really amazing to talk to you, Liam.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.